Another AEW pay-per-view has come and gone. Honestly, from Revolution to Double or Nothing, it feels much longer than 3 months for me. At the same time, it feels like it was just yesterday that the Revolution pay-per-view had occurred. It's a weird thing, but I was somewhat hyped for this show because I knew they were going to have a big main event and all of that. But the way they executed the card leaves a lot to be desired. It's like, what the hell? The fact is, there were so many matches on the card. There was just too many of them. It was weird. Enough talk, let's get into it. The first match on the show is between Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, MJF, and Wardlow. So, he actually showed up. Throughout the weekend, there was doubts over whether or not MJF would appear, and personally, I thought it was messed up because it was more about Wardlow rather than MJF. There's been rumors over him wanting more money without extending, and I'm usually on the wrestler's side, but for this one, I don't know what he's expecting. If Patrick Mahomes wants more money, he extends. If Mo Salah wants more money, he extends. With that said, the match was exactly what it should have been, the moment to establish Wardlow. He won it with ease and set MJF on a stretcher. Some very crazy stuff. If you asked me yesterday that MJF losing would be a sign that he's gone, I wouldn't believe it. I will say though that it's great that he put Wardlow over before doing whatever. But yeah, the match was as it should have been. Even if MJF didn't have that leaving tease or whatnot, I feel this was the way the match should have been, and that's how it was. Is he going to return? Is he going to WWE? I don't know. But one thing for certain is that Wardlow looked great here. He is now in storyline an official member of the AEW roster. I hope we see him win the TNT title soon. The next match is between the Young Bucks and the Hardy Boys. Honestly, I wasn't really hyped with this one. Ever since the Hardys reformed in AEW, I wasn't that interested. It's not like there's no great moments. There's been some, but the guys are getting old, and we have to see them do some very wild stuff in the ring. It just looks sad at times. This one, decent. Obviously, they tried doing too much again, which is the usual because Matt and Jeff are always out there trying to kill themselves for some random spots that no one's going to remember 2 weeks from now. But other than that, I wasn't really that interested. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I love this match, why not? It was decent, and the Hardys winning basically shows that they're in line to challenge for the titles. And who knows, they might win the titles next because, well, the Hardys are back, and adding the AEW World Tag Team Championships to their list would be something. The next match is the TBS Championship. Anna Jay challenged Jade Cargill for the gold. Not as good as Cargill's title defense at Revolution. This one just happened. That said, her presentation is still on point. She's always treated like a big deal. That's why she was here. Unlike the previous match, this had something to it. Interferences. They tried making the match more interesting with this, and it worked. It was slowly building up. The baddies come out, Mark Sterling, John Silver, and then Malcolm Bivens or Stokely Hathaway came out, and it felt weird to see him there, but in a good way. Because this man was out here with Roddy Strong and others just a month ago, and now he's in AEW. As expected, Cargill won it, but wanted to add insult to injury. Unfortunately for her, Statlander, and to top it all off, Athena was here. Yeah, after several months, Athena is all elite. The women's division has grown significantly in the last few months. There's no excuses now. They can be like, oh, the roster, this and that. There's no excuses now. The roster's much better than it was in the past few months. So who knows? We'll see how they're going to do with the women's division. The next match was a trios tag team match. Death Triangle faced the House of Black. This was the match the show needed at this point. Sure, there was some moments, but it felt dry up to this point. And this match was chaotic. It brought that energy and excitement. Each man was jumping off stuff. They're trying to top the other, and it was messy. Best of all, though, was when Julia Hart finally aligned herself officially with the House of Black. I don't remember when the storyline began. It just dragged for the sake of it. Nice ending. We got something great with this match, and it easily provided the show an opportunity to steer it in the right direction. Looking back, though, it took a while for the show to pick up in a great way. The next match was for the Owen Hart Men's Cup, the tournament final. Adam Cole faced Samoa Joe. Apparently, these two never faced off in NXT, which sounds odd, and heading into the match, I had Samoa Joe winning it. This one was decent. It was slow-paced and well done, though, and I should also note that Mike Chioda was a referee, which was a nice touch. My problem with the match is that it didn't feel like a tournament final. Like, if you take that away, it doesn't have that excitement to it. And it's not a bad match at all. It's not tournament final-esque style. It just didn't have that tournament final vibe. As for the finish, well, it's the Adam Cole special. Interference and he wins the match. This man, he was the winner of the tournament, and the ending was very underwhelming. Especially when you see how much effort they were putting into this tournament, showing that it's prestigious, and winning it means you're in the highest level. That wasn't it. I seen some pissed that Adam Cole won because his match style frustrates them. Add to that, he's been doing the same thing for a long time. You know, the Undisputed Era, Elite thing, the need, his moves. He hasn't changed, and some lost interest in him. But as I said, decent matches. It's not fair on the card, and if anything, as a standalone, without the tournament things, it's not that memorable. The next match was a final in the Owen Hart Women's Cup Tournament. The Dr. Britt Baker DMD faces Ruby Soho. Both women had a special entrance. Ruby's was obviously better. And if you asked me a while ago, hey, who's in the final? For one, I would have said Toni Storm. It just seemed like the cup was hers. They were going to establish a new chapter in the AEW Women's Division, but that didn't happen. With that said, I didn't really like this match initially, but it kind of grew on me as time went on. There was obviously some very questionable moments, and similar to the previous match, it didn't have that cup final aura. There was some flashes here and there, but for the most part, not much. Britt Baker won, which once again shows that she wins everything. This could have been an opportunity for Ruby Soho to possibly bounce back, but it is what it is. My pick was Toni Storm for the whole thing, but apparently Britt Baker is 99 overall. Other than that, the ending reminded me of WrestleMania 10, and for certain, that was deliberate. It just had to be. What followed, though, was something special. Martha gives out this passionate speech, and even though Adam Cole is a heel, he was so likable in this segment. Outside of the ring, Adam Cole, he's something else. He showed in this segment, and the speech was very touching. It was amazing. And at the end of the day, when we look at the tournament and whatnot, sure, the matches may have been underwhelming, but, it was all about Owen, and Martha showed it here. Following this, Men of the Year teamed up with Paige Van Zandt to face Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti. And I'm just thinking to myself, what in the middle of the month Dynamite main event is this match? So if Sammy's team loses, they can never challenge for the TNT title as long as Scorpio Sky holds it. Great. This one was at times uninteresting. I didn't really care for it. Van Zandt had some nice moments. That Michinoku driver, though, was something else. Other than that, Sammy and Ty were they just have go-away heat with me at this point. On the other side, though, the real star of the match was Frankie Kazarian. I just loved his performance throughout the whole thing. He single-handedly brought excitement to this thing, at least for me. He was out here pissing off Sammy, hitting these cutters. He was just great. The good guys, and this sounds weird to say, the good guys won the match, and we don't have to see the TNT title and Sammy Guevara near for the time being. It's unfortunate what the TNT title has become, Last year, around this time period, it was my favorite because Darby, Allin, Cody, they're all competing for it, challenging. And there was some great-ass matches, and now I just don't care for it. It's literally just a title with no prestige behind it. There is prestige in the past, but recently, not much. The next match was between Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin. This was one of the last matches added to the show, and even though the card was stacked, these two made sure to stand out. This one was very physical from the start, and I loved every second of it. They didn't need to spend much time to kick into high gear. Unlike the previous matches, this one didn't have that problem of lacking a spark, because it was there. There was that spark, it was interesting, and it's just something that the show desperately needed, because from here, it kicked up a notch. Kyle O'Reilly winning was somewhat surprising to me, because it just didn't seem like his night. That's that Darby's one of the most popular wrestlers on the roster, so to see him actually lose to Kyle O'Reilly, of all people, was somewhat shocking. But yeah, this was a good match. It was physical, they didn't waste time, and it was a nice refresher from what we had gotten from the past few matches. The next match was the AEW Women's Championship. Serena Deeb challenged Thunder Rosa for the gold. Okay, this is just what Thunder Rosa needed. A match that was benefiting of her status. I mean, she's the women's champion, yet at times they disrespect her. As for this match, similar to a bunch of matches previously, and I said this a lot, it was good as time went on. They started to click near the end, and it ain't match of the night or anything like that, but simply put, it was enjoyable. But yeah, Thunder Rosa retained the title. We'll see where she goes from here. The next match was Anarchy in the Arena. John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz faced the Jericho Appreciation Society. Because Jericho turned into a sports entertainer, these men refused to allow him to plague the company with this and were ready for a fight. The Jericho Appreciation Society here preferred to become the Backstreet Boys, even in a very odd situation. As for the babyfaces, they were menacing. This match was exactly what's expected. Wild things playing all while Jericho and Cole are getting bloody. And it got to the point where he was like, screw this, and turned off the music himself. It was a proper mess, and it felt like there was no preparation. It was just 10 men fighting it out wherever and using whatever they could get their hands on as a weapon. Best of all, though, was when Eddie Kingston, after giving Garcia a beating in an elevator, comes in with a can of gasoline, and that image in itself was something else. Jericho almost got his. He was about to get burned alive because of what he did to Eddie about a month ago, but Bryan didn't want none, and they fought. This proved to be the Jericho Appreciation Society's opening. While Bryan was doing all the work alone at this point, he was outnumbered and the heels won. Okay, this match was too much. It was a lot to take in. So many spots that I forgot about because there was so many. It's easily my favorite match of the night, and it fulfilled its true potential. Plus, there's a lot of ways the storyline could go from here. Best match of the night. It was chaotic. It was everything that I thought it was going to be before the match, and then some. Roosh is here. Andrade has brought him to AEW. Maybe his booking will get better from here on. The next match is the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee challenged Jurassic Express for the gold. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of tired here, but that said, I enjoyed the match more than most on the card. One thing to note is that the challenging teams are awesome, and in a way, they somewhat overshadowed the champions. And this is something I've seen others say as well, that Jurassic Express have been overshadowed by the Bucks, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, and of course these two teams. I wanted to see one of them win the title here because it would of course lead to Jungle Boy and Christian, but that didn't happen. Luckily though, we got a nice match out of it, so there's that. And the main event, Hangman Adam Page defends the AEW World Championship against CM Punk, the one everyone was waiting for. CM Punk wasn't even supposed to be in the main event. Like, if you asked me last year, hey, CM Punk is going to face Hangman Adam Page for the title, I would have been confused. How and why would have been my 2 words, because why would Punk return to the Squared Circle after several years of doing the opposite? The man that everyone backed against the man that the fans once adored. Now he's back, and he wants to claim the title. These two had plenty of time to construct something, and I'd say it was great. Hangman was full of fire and aggression, but after going for a moonsault, he hurt his knee. Punk takes advantage with a sharpshooter and messed up with 2 goofy buckshot attempts twice. The deadeye here should have been a 3. Ref literally stopped his hand before touching the mat. And before Hangman started losing it, he had the match won, but the ref was down. And the man was so close to using the bell at this point. He realized, hey, how am I going to take Punk out and win this match? And even though he was wrong, he grabbed that title and was ready to drop Punk, but he had a change of heart. And this cost him because after attempting the buckshot, Punk hit the GTS to win the title. So there you have it. CM Punk, after returning in August, was finally champion. And it's crazy to think about. Personally, I think it was the right decision to have Punk as the champion. He's probably the most over wrestler in the company. It just makes sense to have him as the champion. As for Hangman, well, there's a lot of ways the storyline could go. He could probably turn heel from here on. He could regroup and continue being a babyface. Who knows? One thing for certain, in my personal opinion, is that Punk is eventually going to turn heel. I just don't believe he's going to lose that title without being a heel. It just doesn't sound right to me. I had wrongly predicted he was going to turn heel after the match, or by cheating to win or something like that, but that didn't happen here. Great match. Obviously, there's some issues here and there, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite matches of the night, easily. Alright, that's Double or Nothing. It was a very long-ass show. It was 5.5 hours and it was tiresome. Like, I was exhausted. From the Hook and Danhausen match all the way to the main event, I was tired. At some points, it just dragged. I'm not going to lie and say it didn't, because it honestly did. It dragged at some parts, but once we got to the Anarchy in the Arena thing in the main event, it was nice. Not the best AEW pay-per-view, but the final parts of it were something else. The Darby Allin match, the Serena Deeb thing, the Anarchy in the Arena, tag title match, and of course the main event. Match of the night, Anarchy in the Arena. Nothing could top it in my personal opinion. Alright, what do you guys think of Double or Nothing? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the paradigm shift on the like button, or perhaps the GTS on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.